Melinda, thank you for coming on the show. You have devoted many years, both at the Atlantic Council and in your other position at ROSM, to assisting Ukraine, to informing Americans about what is taking place there. But as a first question, I know that you are also quite expert on the country that is attacking Ukraine, which is Russia. And I wanted to lead off by asking you, I was reading this morning that the Russian summer offensive has essentially failed.
Right.
And that Ukraine stymied it. And we read that Ukraine has inflicted significant damage on the Russian oil producing capacity. Mm-hmm. What do you think is going on in Russia right now as Vladimir Putin and Russian elites assess this war? Now, I know that it's a hobby horse of Putin's. He is on some kind of ideological crusade where he envisions himself as a new Russian emperor, and that the first step is to conquer Ukraine and then menace the Baltic states. However, things don't seem to be going well for Putin. Has Ukraine, in fact, proved the bone in Putin's throat, to use the expression that Khrushchev used about West Berlin? Have the Ukrainians successfully stymied Russia? And what's going to happen in Russia with this war?
Jacob, it's great to be back with you. Thanks for the chance to have this conversation. So, look, they're not mixing martinis in Moscow. This war was supposed to be easy. It was supposed to be 3 days in and out. That has not happened. It's been 3.5 years, and the Ukrainians, they don't have as many people, they don't have as much money, but they are holding the line, and the expectations are actually pretty good for Ukraine. So right now, the Russian offensive did not go as planned. The Russians are not going to be able to take Donetsk. There's going to be heavy fighting. The fighting will continue at the same intensity that we see now until about Christmas. So because of weather, we're entering winter. It's finally cold here in Washington. It's very cold in Ukraine, and the weather changes massively. So the Russians right now can use the leaves. The leaves and the trees, the way the forest is right now, it benefits them with air cover, and they can fly in airplanes and helicopters. That's going to change once the leaves drop. So the intensity will diminish as we get closer to Christmas. Now, big picture, the war is not going anywhere. Russians and Ukrainians are going to continue to fight. Russia is not interested in any negotiations. So any discussions we saw this summer with Donald Trump, that's all been kicked down the road. So the Russians are playing for time, and they're trying to see how much they can get, how much progress they can make on the battlefield. So I think the Russian play right now is they're playing and they're fighting, and they're going to see what they can get in spring, summer next year. So when your readers are thinking about this war that keeps going on and on, the peace negotiations are this is sort of a fantasy. Russia's not interested in this. Ukraine would love to sit down at the table and have a real discussion. Putin is unwilling to do it.
Well, that brings me to an interesting question. I'm curious to hear your response. The Eurasia Center at the Atlantic Council just held an event, I think yesterday or the day before. And one of the first questions from the audience was a hostile one, apparently, in which the person asked, well, why are we continuing to support Ukraine? We've dumped so much weaponry on them over the years. This war is going nowhere. What's in it for the U.S.? Shouldn't we abandon it?
That's a ridiculous question. So America has a long tradition of defending freedom. We're a nation that believes in freedom. It's in our DNA. And Ukrainians have that same DNA. They did nothing wrong. Russia invaded Ukraine, and we have to repeat that. It's so obvious, but we have to repeat it over and over again. So there's moral reasons. So I can give you the moral case. This is one that compels me, is that a nation that is peaceful and democratic was attacked by an autocratic dictatorship for no reason, for crackpot historical theories. Putin doesn't believe that Ukraine is a real nation. The Ukrainian people are little Russians. It's so belittling, Jacob. So Putin has taken his fantasies and tried to exert his vision on a sovereign, democratic, independent country that was making real progress. So that's why I'm so passionate about Ukraine. I can make an argument from history that, look, after World War II, our song here in the United States was might does not make right, that you can't just rewrite the borders willy-nilly like Vladimir Putin is doing. After the Holocaust, we have an obligation as humans, as Jews, as people of conscience, to stand up for those who are forgotten. That to me is the most compelling. But look, if you want the hard-headed business answer, this is a country that's 5,000 miles away. There are Ukrainian Americans all over the United States. There's big communities in Chicago, in New York, in New Jersey, in California. But like, why does it matter to Donald Trump, Donald Trump's America? So it is a long ways away. There's a lot of people who are hungry and need our help. Why should we care about this country? The hard-headed business answer is that it is cheaper to stop Vladimir Putin in Ukraine than it is in Poland. So Vladimir Putin is crazy. He does not believe that this is up and this is down. His worldview has been so distorted by history, by COVID. We could have a long conversation about this. I'm going to spare you and just summarize it that way. But look, he's coming for Western Europe. He's coming for NATO territory. Is it Poland? I don't know. It could be Poland. It could be the Baltic states. But he has an expansionist view. And once he declares victory in Ukraine, we see him now attacking NATO airspace. He's attacked Poland. He's attacked Romania. He's attacked Estonia. He does not accept the borders after World War II. So it is cheaper to stop him in Ukraine than it is to have another world war.
Now, someone who seems to be edging closer to your viewpoint is the President of the United States, Donald J. Trump, who had the much ballyhooed summit in your home state of Alaska, which then has gone nowhere. And now Mr. Trump has not only shifted rhetorically, saying he's displeased with what Russia is doing, but he's also considering Tomahawk missiles. What's your take on where Trump is vis-a-vis Ukraine right now?
So look, Donald Trump is interesting. He's the only president we've ever had who's not ideological. I can't. You're the great expert on neoconservatives. I can't figure out where he fits on the intellectual map in foreign policy. He's not a realist. He's not a liberal internationalist. He's not a neocon. He's transactional. So this is actually a benefit. We don't know what he's going to do. He scares the pants off of everyone because he's able to be much more flexible. He's unpredictable, and that is a benefit when it comes to Russia. So he's not going to wake up and tell us what he's going to do. I did not like his views when he first came into office, but Donald Trump, I will praise him for this. He decided that he was going to try to seek peace with Putin. He gave it 6 months. It did not work. He was naive. But look, he realizes that. He realizes he got played. And Donald Trump, to his great credit, sees that this is a moral issue. He sees that Russia has kidnapped 20,000 Ukrainian children, and it's not giving those children back. Melania is from Eastern Europe. She has Putin's number, and she's talking to Trump. So I see his views evolving. He has egg on his face because he didn't secure peace in Ukraine. But he also sees that Russia has been bombing Ukraine's indiscriminately, and it's really turned up the pressure this summer, Jacob. And Trump sees that, and he's bothered by it. So his policy has changed. Has it changed enough for my taste? No. The Ukraine needs much, much, much more support, especially this winter. We haven't talked about this winter. I am very worried about this winter. The Ukrainians don't have enough gas, and Russia is about to pivot from hitting civilians. So it's been hitting hospitals, schools, and apartment buildings all summer. And the number of strikes is up about 800% in terms of the number of drones and missiles. It's very unpleasant to go to Ukraine right now, right? Like just to be very honest, you are not sleeping. It's hard to live. But he's going to change that, and he's going to start hitting the infrastructure grid. And we see him doing that. So, Jacob, Putin is trying to freeze out Ukrainians. He's trying to force them to move to Western Europe. He wants to see another refugee crisis this winter.
Speaking of refugee crisis, and this gets to our friends in Europe, are they doing enough to support Ukraine?
No, but they're doing a lot better. So I'm encouraged by the massive sea change we see in Germany. Is it Fast enough? No. They still haven't authorized the use of the long-range missiles, the Tauruses, and the Ukrainians need that. Ukrainians need long-range fire so they can hit behind enemy lines and they can hit the command and control centers. The war is over if Ukraine gets enough long-range missiles. So that's one dramatic thing that Germany could do. Germany, though, has been good on economic support. So Ukraine is not a failed state. Ukraine is not Afghanistan. Its railways work. Its schools are open. Its hospitals function. And a lot of that has to do with the economic support that the European Union and Germany in particular provided. Britain has been amazing, though. Britain is the leader in Europe when it comes to Ukraine. And they've been ahead of the United States on 5 major weapons decisions. But I want to see more of that. And they don't have enough. They're not supplying enough. The quantities are too small. So Ukraine is counting on Britain, on Germany, and the French just talk a big game. Like I like Macron. I think he's interesting. His doctrine, some of his sort of foreign policy doctrines are really interesting, and he's right on. But it's as we say in Texas, it's all hat, no cattle. So he talks a big game, but he doesn't follow through. I want to see more Scalp missiles coming from France from France to Ukraine, and I want to see more air defense systems. The name of the game right now is air defense. The winter is going to be very, very hard. It's going to be very, very cold, and the Russians are going to turn up the pressure on civilians by hitting the grid and trying to force people to leave and making it so unpleasant that the only choice is to turn to firewood. If your firewood doesn't work, then you're going to move to Poland again or Romania.
What about the United States sending Tomahawk missiles to Ukraine?
What about it?
Is it going to happen?
Do you want me to call Donald Trump?
Sure.
I don't know. Like, I mean, I'm not an astrologer, right? Like, Donald Trump is very unpredictable.
You think it's a good idea?
I think it's a fantastic idea, and we should have done it years ago. Look, I know you're an admirer of Biden. Biden's policy on Ukraine was like a B- at best. He gave them enough to keep them in the fight, but not enough to finish the fight. No one wants peace more than the Ukrainians. Give them the weapons they need, give them enough long-range fires, and this is over.
Thank you, Melinda.
Thank you.